And welcome back to the podcast. I'm your host, Joe to One Love. So, first of all, I apologize if I don't sound great today or if I've been sounding off. It's not been a great week physically for me, but nonetheless, yeah. Anyway, so AEW Dynamite was a fun edition on Wednesday night. Semifinals for the Gold League, or the Continental Classic. The Gold League final has been set for next week for AEW Dynamite. It will be a triple threat match between Jon Moxley, Swerve Strickland, and Jay White, as Swerve beat Roosh to get to the finals, and then Jay White beat Moxley. Now, interesting scenario because they touted about how tiebreakers, victories, and whatnot. So after Swerve beat Roosh in the start of the show, then the scenario played, well, Moxley beats Jay White, then it's Moxley versus Swerve next week. But if Jay White were to win, then be a triple threat, and that's what happened. So this has a few unique scenarios. So as MJF, he accused Swerve Strickland of possibly being the devil behind the mask. As MJF and Samoa Joe, they had to fend off another attack of the masked men, and there was a message for a match next week. Now, we know that MJF Samoa Joe is going to be the main event of World's End. And, you know, with how it's leading up, I mean, it's going to be difficult not for there to be a reveal of sorts at World's End on who is behind the mask, who is orchestrating stuff. You know, certainly an idea. Does Joe win the title? You know, that's an interesting scenario with MJF being reportedly injured. You know, there's obviously that. And then World's End is going to be unique. But I will say for the triple threat, it's good because it keeps Jay White alive, first of all. Jay White, you know, he and I think many others picks to win the Gold League. Certainly thought there. With how Moxley has looked the last couple weeks, you know, it's been a bit grueling to see. So, I mean, a triple threat kind of narrows it out, and then obviously Swerve. Swerve is definitely the easy pick to win this tournament, and you know they tease obviously MJF and Swerve on Dynamite. But then you go with Jay White, and then interesting developments because the Blue League is tight with, Andrade, Bryan Danielson, Brody King. I mean, there's a number of guys at the top, so it poses some unique scenarios, I would say, to see who faced off at World's End. We'll see. On Collision, we'll look to see who's gonna be in the finals of the Blue League next week. So yeah. Yeah, some interesting stuff. I do want to comment on these two things because it's making rounds of social media, and yeah. First off, guy I just mentioned, MJF. So, he reportedly was asked, is he signed, is he not? The old bidding war of 2024, that stuff. If MJF is not reportedly signed, that would be a massive fumble. Just a massive. And, yeah. It'd be foolish for MJF to not be signed by now to a long-term deal. Yeah. And then Mercedes Moné. So, the former Sasha Banks, look, we saw her, wrestle Will Nightingale for the New Japan Strong Women's Championship, and then she got injured, and then at All In, she was obviously showing the crowd, supporting for AEW. There's report that she wants a contract more than Charlotte Flair, which is reportedly, $15 million, something like that, per year. I'm not sure. She certainly deserves it. All I'll say is, if she's not signed with AEW, then that feels like not really a surprise, considering how bizarre the women's division has been booked the last few months. It's just not been booked well. And, glad that Thunder Rosa's back on Collision. But yeah, it's, we shall see. We shall see. So, now let's get into AEW Dynamite. AEW Dynamite. So, start off with Swerve vs. Roosh. Good match in the Continental Classic. Hard-hitting match by Roosh. Very much alive in the tournament at 6 points, but needed a win here and could not get done for Swerve. But he did have a big bulk of offense throughout this match. He had a big forearm which knocked Swerve to the outside, followed with a tope, and then he was favoring his hamstring, his wrapped hamstring quad area. Back in ring, after some exchanges, they had a big power slam for a near fall. Swerve then targeted the injured hammy of Roosh. So, there was that there. Where did my notes go? Oh. So, then they were fighting on the outside again. Roosh hit big drop kicks and Swerve into the barricade. And there was that. So, back in ring, they hit double boots for double down. So, there's that spot. Roosh hit a straight jacket power drive for a near fall. Let's see. So, Roosh threw Swerve to the outside. Back in ring, Roosh went for a senton, but missed. Swerve hit a 450 splash. Looked great, but Roosh kicked out at 1. So that was a unique spot. Yeah. Unique spot. So, finally, Swerve hit a brainbuster. Roosh kicked out. House call. Swerve saw. Swerve got the victory. Good stuff there. So, yeah. Swerve now into the finals of the tournament. Now looking ahead, because they drew this scenarios up. Moxley won or top. There was a draw. It'd be Swerve and Mox. Instead, if JY won, it'd be a 3-way tie. So, yeah. Chris Jericho. He had a heartfelt promo about his tag team partner, Kenny Omega, who diagnosed with diverticulitis last week. Again, so crazy how, I was recording and then took a break and then went through my notifications stuff and then found out about Kenny. So, talked about, how good Kenny is. Unfortunately, this is taking away their opportunities for going for tag team titles at World's End. But first and foremost, Kenny's health. And then said that we're all pulling for him as he's out indefinitely. And he did the signature Kenny Omega outro. Goodbye. Or he bid you adieu. And he said goodbye instead of goodnight, but either way, I guess since it was early in the show, or maybe that was just a hiccup, either way, and then bang. So, there you go. So, yeah, curious. Well, have a week and a half, or now it's a week, because we didn't get anything about Big Bill and Ricky Starks. I'm probably would have been more if Kenny was healthy, but nonetheless, trying to throw a tag team title match together with a week and a half to go. I mean, if they're all off the card, I mean, certainly works. I mean, it's not. It would have been a fun match, but you know, nonetheless, K Omega is certainly a blow for AEW. We talked about, and yeah, hopefully he heals up ASAP and he has a smooth recovery. The last time I heard about an athlete, being diagnosed with diverticulitis was Brock Lesnar when Brock had his thing when he was in the UFC. So, yeah. But, yeah, hopefully Kenny has a smooth recovery. Mark Briscoe for Jay Lethal. Interesting match in the Kana Classic as both were not, well, both are eliminated from winning the Gold League. But this was about pride and to, of course, see who could gain points. Before the tournament ends, or in their last match in the tournament. And could have went either way, but Mark Briscoe took this and was a good match. Obviously, they have history. Jay Lethal and, the Briscoes from Ring of Honor. Obviously, going back to that tribute match when they had the tribute show after Jay passed. January, which still sucks. I mean, yeah, it's so crazy to think about that it took Jay's passing for Warner Brothers Discovery to be able to put the Briscoes back on TV or AEW or sucks, but at least we have Mark Briscoe here, and he's had a good showing in the tournament, and yeah, had a good match against Jay Lethal. So, like I said, match is good. Lethal and a big top rope elbow for near fall. Mark and Fisherman like Buster for near fall. Jay actually hit the J Driller for a near fall, but Mark kicked out of his brother's finishing move. Followed up with a Burning Hammer and a J Driller of his own for the win. So, there you go. Mark Briscoe finishes with points in the tournament, so goes there. Mark Briscoe is asked about his showing in the tournament, and he went off to say, well, this is like his rookie season as a singles wrestler. So, that went, I mean, definitely say so. Not everyone can have big wins in a tournament. Even in a tournament like this, so certainly there. But good to see Mark Fish on a high note. And yeah, it's on the downside, it obviously sucks because of Jay Lethal. But great for Mark Briscoe. And I had this theory last week, and it's certainly out there after the handshake I saw tonight. As in, with all this losing, being tied with the Jeff Jarrett faction, is it possible that this is linked to a Jay Lethal, face turn? It's certainly there. Certainly a thought. Samoa Joe. He was out there. So Joe was out there and basically called out MJF. To which MJF obliged his opponent for World's End. So, MJF was out there and they went into a tirade, to the point where MJF was questioning Samoa Joe, speculating he could be the devil for all we know, because, a couple weeks ago when the Masked Men and MJF was attacked backstage, Masked Men were out there, but they did not attack Joe. So, it's a lot of accusation, Hangman, Swerve, MJF, Samoa Joe now. One guy who's not being accused, again, it's a lot of okay, they're accusing everyone except the actual devil, which appears Adam Cole. So yeah, there's thought there. Although we saw more goons on Wednesday night, so we'll see. Um, so more goons were out there, and MJF and Samoa Joe were back to back trying to fight these guys off. And the lights went out, and a message. No, it's not Bully Ray, although that was funny. But a message appeared on the big screen. Challenge for a challenge next week for MJF and Samoa Joe. So we'll see. We'll see. Again, the prediction of the Kingdom, Roddy, Adam Cole, it's ultimately there. But we'll see. The best friends, they were backstage. Well, Trent Beretta, Orange Cassidy, Rocky Romero, and Chris Statlander. They're all backstage. And where basically Rocky Romero is getting a title shot for the international title on Rampage. So there's that. So first I'm going to say that Brian Keith had a good showing against Orange Cassidy on Saturday. Good match. But not much sort of there. And then Friday, or I should say today, we're getting a match between Orange Cassidy and Rocky Romero. Now, it feels like small teasers, but if I had to guess, they are teasing the ascension of the best friends, it appears. But other than that, it feels at the end of the first title reign, the international title felt important. And Moxley won those few weeks when it was Moxley, Phoenix, and then Orange Cassidy. That was much more entertaining than what we're getting right now. We'll see. Certainly, where we go from here, as far as the international title. Next up, talked about it for Mercedes, the rumor is that she may not be heading to AEW after all. Well, now you look at this Riho and Saraya match. You can't be that surprised. Because why? Saraya and Riho are both former champions. But what has Saraya done to get a number one contender shot? And then Riho just came back like the other week. Has won a match for Saraya, and she's getting a title shot against Toni Storm. It's going to be filler, she's going to be on for a few weeks and then she'll leave again. Anyways, Toni Storm on commentary was crisp and good. Enjoyed it. Certainly enjoyed it. Yeah. Other than that, Riho wins. Didn't really take much notes on the match because, why bother? Tony Schiavone going from Toni Storm to Tony Schiavone, which was hilarious. So he reportedly got a letter or a fax from Christian Cage telling how he'll basically make his response to Adam Copeland's challenge for World's End Saturday on Collision, and expects a hero's welcome there on Collision. Hilarious, simple, and true. Christian Cage on Collision. First match with Adam Copeland was fine. I expect the second one to be better. Yeah, we'll see. MJF was backstage. He saw a mask laid up on the ground in front of Mogul Embassy's dressing room or locker room. So he saw Nana and then threw him against the wall, was very unhappy. So then we see Swerve and he backs up Nana, and then Swerve and MJF get into conversation. MJF started singing the intro of Swerve's entrance, which was hilarious. But talked about without his entrance, he loses his shine. So Swerve has talked about MJF ducking him for all this time, saying this is their first real competition or interaction together. And then MJF has talked about car rides in the past. Talked about how there's levels to this game. And throwing some speculations about how, since he hates Hangman, it's like, why not try to frame him? And simply put, with Mogul MC going around attacking everyone, he asks, is he the devil? So, Swerve basically backtracked, and not really much was said after. Excuse me. And Samoa Joe, he backed up MJF. The door was open for the Mogul MC, and there was basically a standoff. And MJF and Joe left. Swerve went back into his locker room. He's very fondly good. Obviously, Swerve's not the devil. But MJF accusing another person. We'll see. But yeah, I bet something's going to happen next week, and we're probably going to get a reveal at World's End. It's my take. Roderick Strong versus Kommander. Not much here. Roddy getting a win. Kommander TV time. Decent match. Kommander isn't Phoenix, but he is very good. Indian, it looked like a overcommitment, I would say, by Kommander. I have to guess. As Roddy, he calls it the end of Heartache, and, guy flips over and knees the back of the spine. But Kommander, he flipped through, landed on his stomach, and got the knees, and a interesting end of Heartache. More like an end of stomach ache, I'd say. Nonetheless, Roddy wins. Try to plead with Samoa Joe again that MJF is devil. And yeah. Main event time. Jay White versus Jon Moxley. Scenario was put down. Mox wins or ties. Jon Moxley faces Swerve next week in the finals of Golden League. Jay White wins, and we got a triple threat next week. So this match is fun. I wouldn't say, or it was good. Not Moxley and White's best match from the tournament, but it was a good match. Can't tell if Moxley actually injured himself. With the role he's at, he's definitely got to be hurting. But yeah. So anyway, they were fighting outside, up the ramp, but Jay White looked for a pile driver, it looked like, but he got dumped on the aisleway. And then back in the ring, Mox said running knee. And then more fighting on the outside, but as they got back in the ring, Moxley counter hit paradigm shift for a near fall. Then a big knee by Moxley again. White followed up later in the match. He had sleeper suplex followed a Uranagi for a near fall. Looked great. And a Kiwi Crusher for another 2. Jay White was going for the finish. He was going for a Blade Runner, but Mox countered out of it, out of the corner, hit a big lariat, followed a curb stomp for a 2. Then went for a paradigm shift, but White fought off, rolled through, and then swift motion hit the Blade Runner on Mox. 1, 2, 3. Jay White wins, and we got 3-way tie for the Top of Gold League for next week. Gonna be good stuff. As 12 points, 12 points, 12 points. So, yeah. Semifinals gonna be fun next week. Obviously, we got the matches for the Blue League on Saturday, which will determine the finals of the Blue League next week, which should be fun. Anyways, guys, that is the addition here. So, Swerve came out after the match. It was funny seeing Jay White do the Prince Nana dance. Moxley looked like he was hurt. Chop block by Jay White. I imagine they'll figure into the match next week. So good stuff. But anyways, guys, take care. Subscribe, like button, thumbs up. See you guys next time. Peace for Collision.